In this video, we'll show you how to use the Debug interactive window or Debug REPL. This is just one of the many features of Python tools for Visual Studio. We start with a Python project opened in Visual Studio. Let's set a breakpoint and start debugging. You can access the Debug interactive window from the Debug Windows menu. The Debug REPL looks similar to the other REPL windows. The main difference is that the Debug REPL executes code in the debug process. Let's use it to print values of local variables. We can also modify the contents of variables. And you'll see that the debugger tooltip shows the new value. We can call functions defined in our program, and we can also define new functions. Let's define a function in the finance module. First, we'll change the current module from current frame to finance. We'll add a function that determines if a person is approved for a mortgage. We'll allow the monthly payment to be 33% of the person's monthly pay. Now let's switch back to the current frame module so we can execute code in that context. Let's see if a $45,000 a year salary is enough for this mortgage. That's not enough. How about 50,000? Excellent. Let's take a look at the various commands available in the Debug REPL. To see a list of commands, enter $$ or $help. Each command must be prefixed with the $sign. Let's step into the monthly payment function using $S. We can look at the call stack using $W. We can move up one frame using $U. Now the Debug REPL code executes against frame 1, the main function. Let's resume execution now. Note that whenever execution stops in the debugger, the current frame is reset to 0. We can step out using $R. And looking at the call stack will show us that we are now back in the main function at frame 0. Let's have a look at a multi-threaded program. This program has a main thread and one worker thread. The $threads command displays all threads. Let's switch to the worker thread using $thread. Looking at the call stack, we can see that we are indeed in the worker thread and we can access its variables. Note that multi-process debugging works similarly. You simply use the $procs command to list all the processes and then use the $proc command to change the current process. Finally, let's look at using the Debug REPL from an Python project. On the right, you can see the project settings where the interpreter is set to Python 2.7. Under Debug, the launch mode is set to Standard Python Launcher. This will make sure that the Python debugger is used instead of the .NET debugger. Let's start debugging. And from here we can do the same operations that we've done before, like look at local variables or change their values.